Number 1. This man betted $1 million at a casino and lost it all. His name was William Lee Bergstrom and was known as the Suitcase Man. He walked inside a casino where no one knew who he was, just a dude with 2 suitcases, one full of cash and another empty. He set the suitcase down and showed his wager to the casino. The game he played was called craps, and he bet on the don't cross line in the game, which meant it was a 50-50 chance whether he won or not. The dice was rolled and he won. He filled the empty suitcase with his winnings and called it a day. 3.5 years later, he came back and placed a bet of $538,000 on the same dice roll and won. He disappeared but came back, except this time he bet $1 million. It was the same bet as his previous games, but this time his outcome was unfortunately not. The dice was rolled and he lost his entire wager. William was devastated. He left the casino with an empty suitcase. 3 months passed and he was found dead from an overdose in his bedroom. The strange thing was that even though he lost the $1 million bet, his family stated that he wasn't broke at the time and still had $647,000. Turns out his first bet at the casino with $770,000 was mainly borrowed money, and that he would have killed himself if he had not won. Instead, he did win and traveled around the world. Number 2. Barkley lost $2.5 million while gambling at Las Vegas in 6 hours. He grew up in Leeds, Alabama, a kid who fought his way into the NBA. By the time he retired, he was a Hall of Famer with millions of dollars in the bank and a new career as a TV analyst. But Barkley loved competition off the court, and blackjack was one of his favorite casino games. One night in Las Vegas, he sat down with towers of $50,000 chips stacked in front of him. At first, he was the lighthearted person people knew on TV, trash talking with the dealer and having a laugh. The first few hands teased him with small wins, just enough to keep him hooked. Then the odds went against his favor, so he decided to raise the stakes, betting bigger in hopes of a turnaround. Instead, the losses piled up, each hand wiping out more of his bet. Within 6 hours, he was staring at an empty spot where his $2.5 million had once been. For him, the money wasn't life-ruining, but it really hurt his ego. He admitted later that it was a wake-up call, proof that his gambling habits could have spiraled out of control. Friends teased him about the incident, and he confessed it stung more than he let on. Number 3. A man flew to Las Vegas from Australia to enjoy some gambling after a long week of work. He was excited. He told himself that he was ready to make some cash. So he sat at a baccarat table. He threw in a bet and he lost. But he remembered that baccarat is a 50-50 chance to win, so he must eventually win his bet back and profit as long as he keeps playing. Everyone around looked to see if he would win. Turns out he was a bit of an infamous gambler. See, he made a living selling high-end properties as a real estate agent, but he loved gambling with high stakes so much that he mortgaged his parents' house and borrowed money from friends to gamble at tables. You could probably see how this would be a problem, but casinos love players like this. They'll treat them like MVPs. So he placed $300,000 worth of chips on the table to bet. Employees and bystanders watched him bet at this table and watched the dice roll. They thought, is he really going to win $300,000 right now? Nope. People stood in awe as they saw Harry continue losing in the course of his high-stakes gambling session. By the end of the night, Harry was frustrated and depressed. He had lost $4 million at the baccarat table. How could it be? If it's supposed to be a 50-50 chance that you win in this game, well, at the end of the day, the house always wins. And Harry lost $4 million in a single night. But that didn't stop him from returning to the casinos after he planned to win it all back the next time he played. Number 4. If you put in $50 at a casino and got $40 million, you would be pretty happy, right? You can invest, never work again, travel the world, do whatever you want. Well, a man in Las Vegas achieved such a feat, but what do you think he did after winning? I mean, what's the title of this video? Yeah, he lost it all. Archie Karas grew up with a financially struggling family in Greece and earned money as a kid playing marbles. He then got a serving job as an adult on a cruise where he eventually arrived in Los Angeles. This is where he played pool for cash. He quit his job once he earned more than his job just from pool games. He then switched to poker where he learned high-stakes betting. He was successful enough to rack up to $2 million from it. Though that wasn't enough for him and he kept on gambling. Then suddenly his luck ran out and he was back to only $50, but he had the knowledge of a professional gambler. He decided to go to Vegas and win it all back. He got to the casino and noticed one of his poker buddies he used to play. He asked for a loan of $10,000 from him, where he happily agreed and was able to earn $30K. Giving his friend $20K and keeping the initial $10,000, he went to a pool table and found a wealthy player to play $5,000 a game. Karas had won most of the games and ended up at a profit of at least $200,000. They then raised the stakes to $40,000 a game. He ended up winning $1.2 million in the end. He then played poker with the same person he beat in pool, where he earned another $3 million from poker. He would just spam top poker players, and by the end of the night, he had made $17 million. With his reputation, no one wanted to play games with him anymore, so he turned to craps, a 50-50 chance game where he was able to convert 17 into $42 million. This is where the story ends, and he gambles and continues to make more money than anyone has in gambling. Just kidding, he played more craps, baccarat, and lost all of his gambling money to 50-50 games. What took him 2.5 years to collect, he lost in 3 weeks. After his loss, he admitted that his life never truly felt as alive when he gambled all of his money. To him, it wasn't even about the money, it was about the fun he had. He was later banned from all Nevada casinos after being caught cheating and passed away 9 years later at the age of 73. Number 5. December 2008. FBI agents stormed the corporate offices of Fry's Electronics in San Jose. Their target? Not a mob boss, not a hacker, but a senior executive in a tailored suit. His name was Ausaf Umar Siddiqui, and he had stolen $65 million to fuel a secret gambling addiction. Siddiqui was the vice president of merchandising, in charge of vendor payments worth millions, but behind the scenes he created fake shell companies, and instead of paying suppliers, he funneled Fry's money straight into blackjack. Casinos loved him. He was what they call a whale, a high roller, betting millions at a time. He stayed in penthouses, rode in limos, and lived like royalty, but in reality, he was drowning in debt. By 2007, Siddiqui had racked up $137 million in liabilities, while his checking account held just $80. The FBI caught on. On December 18, 2008, Siddiqui was arrested and later sentenced to 6 years in federal prison. His empire, his career, his reputation, gone. Today, after serving his time, Siddiqui lives in obscurity. The casinos that once spoiled him have moved on, and the man who once controlled millions is remembered only as the executive who gambled everything away. Because in the end, he didn't just lose the money. He lost his old life. Number 6. 2007, Las Vegas, Nevada, a city of neon lights and endless possibilities. One man walked into Caesar's palace with more money than most people could imagine, and by the end of the year, he had lost $127 million, more than any gambler in Vegas history. His name was Terrance Watanabe, heir to the Oriental Trading Company. After selling his stake in the family business, he had hundreds of millions at his disposal. At first, the money was just a thrill: blackjack, baccarat, high-stakes poker, nothing too serious. But soon, the stakes grew. Bets of $50,000 to $100,000 a hand became routine, and Watanabe could not stop. The casinos loved him. Caesars and Rio treated him like a king. Luxury suits, private jets, free champagne, anything he wanted. Every time he sat at a table, millions were at risk, and the house always wins. Within 12 months, Watanabe had blown through $127 million. Reports later said that staff even provided him with alcohol and painkillers to keep him at the tables longer. He was addicted, and the casinos were ready to profit from every hand he lost. By the end of it all, lawsuits followed, his fortune evaporated, and the man who could have retired for life was left with nothing. Terrance Watanabe's story is a warning. In Las Vegas, even the richest man can fall fast and hard when the house always comes on top.